Hi everybody, I'm on a different camera today, so I don't know if you could tell the difference. I'm in a bedroom upstairs in my house. It's an extra bedroom. It was my daughter's, and now I just use it to store all my stuff. But I'm going to read you the next chapter of Ivan, and it's really getting exciting. Last chapter, something happened. Do you remember what it was? Ivan was painting, and he thought it would be wonderful if he could paint something that would give a message to help Ruby get out of the circus, out of the Big Top Mall, and get to the zoo. So Ivan painted a picture of a zoo with the sign with the giraffe inside of a circle, and then he actually painted a picture of Ruby with a bunch of other elephants, and then it said home. And it took Julia and her father a long time to figure out what that message meant. But when they did, they went crazy. And they posted the message on the billboard so that everybody could see it. And the television stations have been coming and they've been recording it. And now people are protesting that they want Ruby in a zoo. And even Ivan, they don't want them to live like that in the mall anymore. So that's where we left off. No one asks me to paint today. No one asks Ruby to perform. There are no shows, no visitors, unless you count the protesters. Max stays in his office all day. I wake up from a long morning nap. Bob is on my belly, but he isn't asleep. He's watching the ring where 4 men are placing a large metal box. It's Ivan-sized. What's that? I asked, still blurry from sleep. Bob nuzzles my chin. I believe that box is for you, my friend. I'm not sure what he means. Me? They brought in a bunch of boxes while you were sleeping. Looks to me like they're taking the whole lot of you, even Thelma. Taking us where? I said. Well, some to the zoo, probably. Others to an animal shelter where humans will try to find them homes. Bob shakes himself. So I guess all good things must come to an end, huh? His voice is bright, but his eyes are far away and sad. I'm going to miss your stomach, big guy. Bob shuts his eyes. He makes an odd noise in his throat. But what about you, I ask. I can't tell if Bob's just pretending to sleep, but he doesn't answer. I gaze at the huge, shadowy box, and suddenly I understand how Ruby feels. I don't want to go into that box. The last time I was in a box, my sister died. When George and Julia come that night, George doesn't get his mop or his broom. He gathers up his tools and his belongings while Julia runs to my cage. This is my last night, Ivan, she says, and she presses her palm to my glass. Mac fired my dad. Tears slip down her cheeks. But the zoo lady said maybe they'll have an opening there in a while, cleaning cages and stuff. I walk to the glass that separates us. I put my hand where Julia's is, palm to palm, finger to finger. My hand is bigger, but they're not so very different. Excuse me. I'm going to miss you, Julia says, and Ruby and Bob, but this is a good thing, it really is. You deserve a different life. I stare into her dark eyes. I wish I had words for her. Sniffling, she goes to Ruby's cage. Have a good life, Ruby, she says. Ruby makes a little rumbling sound. She puts her trunk between the bars and touches Julia's shoulder. Where's Bob anyway? Julia asks. She looks around under tables, in my cage, by the trash can. Dad, have you seen Bob? She calls. Bob? No, said George. Julia's brow wrinkles. What's going to happen to him, Dad? What if Mac shuts down the whole mall? He says he's going to try to keep it open without the animals, George says. He stuffs his hands in his pocket. I'm worried about Bob too, but Bob's a survivor. You know what, Dad? Julia has a gleam in her eye. What do you think she's going to say? Bob could live with us. Mom loves dogs. He could keep her company. And, Jules, I'm not even sure I have a job yet. I might not even be able to feed you, let alone some mutt. But my dog walking money. Sorry, Jules. Julia nods. I understand. She starts to leave, then runs back to my cage. I almost forgot. This is for you, Ivan. She slips a piece of paper into my cage. It's a drawing of Ruby and me. We're eating yogurt raisins, and Ruby is playing with another baby elephant, and I'm holding hands with a beautiful gorilla. She has red lips and a flower in her hair. I look, as I always do at Julia's pictures, like an elegant fellow, but something is different about this drawing. In this picture, I'm smiling. The door to my cage is propped open. I can't stop staring at it. My door, open. The giant box has been moved, and it's open too. The humans have pushed it against my doorway. If I walk through my door, I enter their box. The zoo lady, whose name is Maya, is here again. Click, yogurt raisin. Click, tiny marshmallow. Click, ripe papaya. Click, apple slice. Remember when they did the same thing to Ruby? Hour after hour, click after click. I look over at Ruby. She waits to see what I will do. I touch the box. I sniff the dark interior. Interior means inside. Yep. Where there's a ripe mango waiting. Click, click, click. I have to do it. Ruby is watching me from between the bars of her cage, and this box is the way out. One step inside. After I leave the box and step back into my cage, I get an idea, a good one. I tell Bob he can sneak into my box with me and live at the zoo. Have you forgotten? I'm a wild beast, Ivan, he says, sniffing the floor for crumbs. I am untamed, undaunted. Bob samples a piece of celery and spits it out. Besides, they'd notice. Humans are dumb, but they're not that dumb. Ivan, Ruby says, do you think the other elephants will like me? I think they'll love you, Ruby. You'll be part of their family. Do you think the other gorillas will like you? Ruby says. I'm a silverback, Ruby. I'm a leader. I pull my shoulders back and I hold my head up high. They don't have to like me. They have to respect me. Even as I tell her this, I wonder if I could ever command their respect. I haven't had much practice being a real gorilla, much less a silverback. Do you think the other elephants will know any jokes? If they don't, I tell her, you can teach them. Ruby flaps her ears. She flicks her tails. You know what, Ivan? What, I ask. I think I'm going to go in the box tomorrow. I gaze at her fondly. I think that's a good idea. And I think Stella would have agreed. Do you think the other elephants will know how to play tag? I love tag. Me too, I said, and I think of my nimble sister racing through the brush, always just out of my reach. Late at night, Mac opens my cage. The full moon falls on his sagging shoulders, and he seems smaller somehow. Bob, instantly alert, leaps off my stomach and dives under my stuffed animal, not Tag. Don't bother hiding, dog, Mac says. I know you sleep in there. Mac settles onto my tire swing. Might as well stay one more night. Your buddy's leaving tomorrow. Tomorrow? My stomach drops. I'm not ready. I need more time. I haven't said my goodbyes. I haven't thought this through. Mac pulls a photo out of his shirt. It's me when I was young. Mac and I are in the front seat of his convertible. I'm wearing a baseball cap and eating an ice cream cone. I was a handsome lad, but I'll have to admit, I look ridiculous. Not like a real gorilla. We had some laughs, didn't we, Guy? Mac says. Remember when we went on that roller coaster? Or that time I tried to teach you to play baseball and basketball? Mac shakes his head. You had a lousy jump shot. He stands, sighs, and looks around. He puts the photo back into his pocket. I'm going to miss you, Ivan, he says. And then he leaves, and he doesn't look back. Early in the morning, Maya arrives with many other humans. Some have white coats. Some are rustling papers. They are hushed, busy, determined. Ruby enters her box first. I'm scared, Ivan, she says. I don't want you to leave. A part of me doesn't want her to leave either, but I know I can't tell her that. Think of all the amazing stories you can share with your new family, I say. Ruby falls silent. I'll tell them your elephant joke, she says. The one about the refrigerator. I bet they'll like that. And be sure to tell them about Bob and Julia and me. I clear my throat. And Stella. I'll remember everyone, said Ruby, especially you. Before I can say any more, they roll her cage out into a waiting truck. It's my turn. Bob is hiding in a corner behind my pool. The humans don't even notice him. While they're busy making sure my box is ready, Bob sneaks over and licks my chin just in case there's any crumbs. You, I whisper, are the one and only Bob. I reach for Nut Tag. She's just a limp rag without her stuffing. Dribbles of paint cover her fur. I hold her out to Bob. He tilts his head, confused. To help you sleep, I said. Bob takes her in his teeth and slips away. So now I want a prediction. I want you to write a little paragraph or two that says Ivan is going to leave the Big Top. So is Ruby, and so is Bob. Then I want you to tell what you think will happen to each one. First, I think Bob will. Next, I think Ivan's going to. And last, I think Ruby will. And then wrap it up and say, finally, this is what I thought would happen, or this is not what I thought would happen when I started this book. All right, I will talk to you tomorrow.